My business is Sue Henry Talks. Workshop and training diva, seminars that do more than educate and inspire. They deliver results and profits. I decided that I needed to grow my business. The only way I could do that I could see, because I live in the rural part, I live in the country, was to start using social media. So I jumped in with both feet, and I bought several programs that were at least $500 each. And I went through, and they were each like 400 pages. And I went through page by page and each program to figure out what worked and didn't work. All of this on dial-up. Well, it took me about 6 months before I got my first deal through social media because of those connections. And since that time, in the last 18 months, because of these little tweaks that I've done in my 15 minutes a day that I allow myself, I've generated more than $34,000 in income just because of connections that I've made through LinkedIn and Facebook. I teach them practical aspects of how to use it, not the technology. So social media is a dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's all about having a conversation and engaging people so that they're going to respond back. It's not just saying, what are you doing? Oh, I'm going to the grocery store. Who cares? Nobody. But it's talking about, what do you wish you were doing? What are you doing that's filling your dreams? What's really of interest to you? Because those are the things that we respond to, that we relate to, and then it'll grow from there. So, for instance, I wanted to do some workshops for nonprofits. So I did quite a bit of research to find out, how are nonprofits able to use social media to find new volunteers, but more importantly, to get online donations. So I did a lot of research, I tracked some things, and then on my status update, I went ahead and put that I just worked out a proposal, which I did, for a nonprofit on how they could grow their online donations and find new volunteers with social media. I didn't know where it would go, but what happened was, all of a sudden, I got contacted by a company that brought a large number of nonprofits together for a conference, and they hired me to come and speak. Now, it's not about the nonprofit, it's the principle that if in the status update, you talk about things that you want to do, that you have done experience with, who are good clients for you, in a way that converses and doesn't sell or pitch, people are going to be attracted to that. They're going to remember it, and you'll start attracting the people who want, need, and are willing to buy what you offer. Keywords, number one, are important. So you need to know what keywords people are looking for when they're looking for you. Somebody's buying what they're searching and buying what you offer online right now. Are they finding you? So first of all, your profile, you need to be consistent. You need to have those keywords. So go in, find those keywords. You can go into, I think, adwords.google.com. It's free. Put in the words you think people would use, and then turn around and then print out the report. Find those. So for instance, in my tagline, or in my, I call myself Workshop and Training Diva. I tried president of my company, but guess what? Nobody ever cared. Then I tried CEO, Chief Advertising Officer, but guess what? It didn't matter. So what I thought, well, this isn't working, what they're telling me in these books, but what if I brought in some of those keywords in my title as well as in my profile? Could that make a difference? So one of the things I teach people is to come up, you may have to put president or something like that because of your corporate structure or something, but you have enough room to add a little tagline. So if you talked about who you are, what you do, and the results people get, could that make a difference? So I kept playing with it, and I found that people use workshops, trainings, and seminars interchangeably. They wanted results, they wanted profits, they wanted education, they wanted inspiration. So I kept working it. It wasn't like, oh, it just showed up. But all of a sudden, once I had that component together, I started being hit. And people started going to my profile and reading it. I could tell that in the reports. Then I had to think about, okay, they're reading my profile, but they're not conversing with me yet. So what's missing? So then I went ahead and I started adding those keywords in my profile. But then I also added some personal information. Now, there's some things we don't want to know, so I didn't add that. But what was I interested in? You know, we're organic dairy farmers. I get tons of conversation because of organic. You know, so there's all those types of things. People do business with people, not with businesses. So the more we can wrap and blend and harmonize who we are, we all wear these different hats, but we're still only one person. So the more we can blend that and package it, the greater the opportunity we have to touch those people.
And touching people is what it's all about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And what it is I grew up and I wasn't a real good kid. And so I had a lot of these negative thoughts in my head. And, you know, I had been sexually abused as a child. I did all these other kinds of things. And I decided that just because those words in my head, you're stupid, you're ugly, you can't do that, who do you think you are, why can't you just be satisfied? I felt like I was living a lie. I was trapped in this life that I didn't like. But I had all these dreams inside me, and I felt like I was living a life of quiet desperation. And finally I thought, I've got to get rid of this. If I can get out of my own way, then I'll be able to accomplish these things. So I went ahead and I did the Jack Canfields and the Brian Tracy's and the Tony Robbins, and I would do all these different things, and I immersed myself in them. But after a couple weeks of doing them, it seemed like those thoughts kept coming back. I couldn't eradicate them. Well, then Princess Diana died, and Princess Diana was, to me, she was such a resilient human being. Everything she had gone through, and she kept coming back stronger than ever. Some of it her own making, some of it just because of life circumstances. And when I was watching her funeral, and I thought, what could I achieve if I had a tiara? I mean, if I had a tiara, then people couldn't tell me, you can't do that. They'd have to let me do it, right? And so I decided at that point to make a journal. And every morning when first of all, I put on this imaginary tiara. I didn't have a tiara. And I closed my eyes and imagined how I felt when I had this tiara on, that I could do anything, be anybody. And so then I went ahead and I wrote down what I wanted to achieve. Well, then each day I would choose one thing I was going to work on, and I was going to make one little baby step toward that thing. And every time those negative thoughts would come into my head, I would get myself back in this state, as Tony Robbins says, and imagine that tiara on, and I would get back in my zone. Well, what was astonishing was that after 30 days, when I read back through my journal, the momentum I had built toward building my dreams, or going toward my dreams, but what was absolutely earth-shattering to me was that those negative thoughts had all but disappeared. They weren't there anymore. And I have been able to achieve my dreams as a speaker. I've got people from 18 countries and 38 states who have taken my classes and courses. I'm in, one of Dr. Meisner's books, a New York Times bestseller, Masters of Sales. I just was able to get on and have my own column on the National Networker, which goes out to at least 250,000. So I've accomplished these wonderful, wonderful things, and I thought, there's so many other people who have these dreams and have these goals, and they don't know how to get out of their own way. And what if this free 30-day experiment, they could break through some barriers? Look at the impact it could have on their life, but look at the impact it would have on the lives of their children and the lives of all those around them. I truly believe with all my heart that we can make the world a better place, one tiara at a time. So my goal is to share this story, have them take the tiara experiment, it's free, and then to submit a story to me about what their experience is. And once we have those stories, we can put them into a book, kind of like Chicken Soup for the Soul. And so somebody may not resonate with my story, but they'll maybe resonate with yours or somebody else's. I truly believe that we can touch lives and that we can make a difference.